tonight we have a wonderful lineup of speakers that I'll introduce in just a moment. But I also want to make you aware that we are trying out a new Zoom webinar format. And your screen may look different than it has on previous calls if you've joined us before. You will see the speaker and their slides, but you won't see the other attendees of this webinar. That gives you a little more anonymity. But if you do have questions for our speakers, you can use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. And as time allows, we'll try to answer those questions in between the two speakers. And at the end, you'll also see contact information for our speakers and for Wings for Widows if you have questions. This call will last about an hour, and it is being recorded and will be posted after it's edited on our YouTube channel. And the way you find that is just go onto the Wings for Widows website, and at the very bottom, you'll see the icon for Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And you just click on the YouTube and it will take you to all the recorded videos that we have. Right now, I would like to shine a spotlight on one of the enrichment classes that we're offering. It starts a week from tomorrow on the 11th, and it's just entitled Consumer Protection. It's just a 3-part class, and it's being taught by Denise Gibson of Leg Up Life Skills. As you probably know, widows are particularly vulnerable to identity theft and fraud on many kinds. Just a personal story, within just a couple of months of my husband's death, I had several large charges for furniture that was purchased in Miami on his closed credit card. Of course, I was able to take care of that, but it is important to be vigilant and to know what to do if something like that should happen and how to prevent it in the first place. So I would encourage you to take this class. Just go to the Wings for Widows website and click on events to register. And the deadline for that class is this weekend, so don't procrastinate. Now, I want to ask Joe Nelson to come on the screen. Joe, go ahead and open up your video. There she is. I want to introduce you to Joe Nelson. I first met Joe because she contacted Wings for Widows back in 2018 or early 19. And we were in touch for many months over that time. We met for coffee and lunch and just took time to talk to one another, because as she journeyed through the early months of the death of her spouse, her beloved sister also died, and she had to close up her home in California and take care of that, all while caring for her dad. And in the meantime, twin grandchildren were born. So she is a very busy woman, and she has a hopping real estate practice as well. Now Joe is one of our volunteers, one of our widow advocates. So not only has she taken on all these things, she has decided that she feels a calling to help others. And we're so blessed to have you, Joe. I know this topic is very hot on people's minds right now, and I really appreciate your taking the time out to share your wisdom and insights with us tonight. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Liane. That's very nice, and I appreciate the introduction. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I want to thank you all for joining me here tonight. And our topic is to sell or not to sell. And that is the question. Before we get started, I kind of want to tell you a little bit about myself. Joe Nelson again, I'm with Coldwell Banker Realty And like Liane said, I'm a widow. I lost my husband 3 years ago to esophageal cancer. I'm a mom of 2 adult daughters, which bring me so much joy, and a grandma to, like Liane said, twins, a twin boy and girl. They're now 18 months old, and I also have a new 4-month-old grandbaby boy. So he's taking a lot of my time and wonderful little snuggles. So, um, and then I'm a realtor, obviously, and that's why I was asked to join today to just share some information about myself and this the current market. So we'll just kind of see what kind of questions we can get answered here for you. First of all, I just want to say I'm really sorry for your loss. Whether it's recent or it's been a while, I'm very sorry for your loss. The 3 biggest stresses in life are the death of a spouse, a divorce, and moving, buying and selling real estate. So you've all experienced the first biggest stress, and now you're contemplating is it time to sell my house, which is just another stress. So it's a big decision to make, whether you should sell or not, and because you're going to be doing it by yourself this time. And so a couple of the questions to answer is what is the best timing and what are some of the key factors to consider here? And the best timing I would like to say is maybe they always say, and you hear, you really don't want to make any big decisions the first year after you lose a spouse. And so you kind of want to keep that in the back of your mind. But again, everybody's circumstance is so different that it might be a good time to sell right now. And then what are some of the key factors you should consider? And that's really the question I'm going to try to answer for you tonight here. And a good place to start with that is what is the housing market like? That's the one thing you should consider when you're getting ready to sell. And that the housing market is determined by how long it will take to sell the current inventory of homes based on the current demand, supply and demand. If there's less than a 6-month supply, it's a seller's market. If it's between 6 and 7 months, it's a neutral market. And if it's over 7 months, it's a buyer's market. And right now, it is a seller's market. Homeowners have unprecedented opportunity to sell with great success right now because of the demand. Homes are selling over last year and half the time it took to sell last year. They're getting more offers. There's more creative bids coming in. Prices are rising. And so you have a lot of leverage in your home right now and a lot of leverage to sell and get some equity. So you may have a lot of equity in your house right now. An interesting fact is that 58.7% of all homes in America have at least 60% equity in them. And 42% completely own their homes outright. They're free and clear. And those with a mortgage owe about $177,000. So that's a lot of equity that you can take with you if you're moving to a new home or if you maybe want to take a trip around the world right now. So the question is it the right time to sell? Well, being a realtor, I'm going to tell you it's absolutely the right time to sell. You're going to get so much bang for your buck right now because the demand is so high. And we are thinking that as time goes on, more homes are going to come on the market, and that will kind of, slow the demand. So right now is a great time. There's 47% more home showings. The inventory is down 43% over last year, and there's bidding wars. Almost every home has 3 bids or more. And I can tell you from personal experience, I don't think I've put in an offer that didn't have 3 bids. In fact, the last couple had 20 offers, 28 offers. So the seller really gets to pick what offer they want to take and what's the best one for them. So, as you're looking at selling, there are those still things to consider when you're preparing to sell. Some of the things that you really want to consider are you're going to want to know your finances and kind of where you're at. You might need to make repairs. So you're going to need to know if you have the money to make these repairs. If you don't, we can still work around that and sell a house without the repairs being made. But you're going to want to know how much money you have to make repairs and if it's worth it, what to do. What condition is your home really in? I mean, do you need to make a lot of repairs or do you just need some updating? Does it need new carpet or does it just need cleaning, decluttering? What will you do with all your belongings? Are you going to take them with you? Are you going to sell them? You have too much in your house, you want to declutter, you can store them in the garage. So kind of what do you plan to do there? Who do you have to support you and who's going to help you get ready to sell? Family, friends, you're going to hire someone, kind of where are you at there? Another thing to consider is what's going to be most important to you. Is it the price you're going to get? Do you want top dollar? Are you willing to make repairs to get it? Is it the timing? You just really want to move. You don't want to spend a lot of time here. Or is it convenience? You don't want to be going in and out of your house. And that all comes into pricing the home too. So, and where are you going to go? You want to consider what are my next steps once I sell the house. And an experienced realtor can actually help you make some of these decisions, and they have a lot of resources too where they can help you get help to declutter, clean, paint, whatever you need to do. So it's always a good idea to call a realtor and get their support. So then it's kind of a personal decision deciding if it's the right time for you personally. Why you want to sell, do you need to sell, where do you want to move? Do you want to move to the cities or do you want to move to the suburbs or a condo or a townhome? What type of home do you want? Or when do you want to move? Do you want to move right now? Are you excited to go somewhere else? Or, where do you want to be? And then are you prepared for the emotions of moving? Even if you hadn't had a death of a spouse, moving is highly emotional. Moving is an emotional business, and you're saying goodbye to one part of your life and you're looking forward to another part of your life, a new chapter. So it's always emotional, and it's emotional right now too with, if you're going to buy a new home, the ups and downs of buying. We're not really going to talk about that today because the question is really, do you want to sell? But in deciding if you want to sell, you do have to go somewhere. So if you want to jump into the buyer's market, that's an emotion you want to consider too. So some of the reasons as a widow you might want to sell, just kind of taking it, some of this is from my own personal experience and how I'm making decisions. I've decided to stay in my house in case you're curious, but if the right thing came along, maybe I wouldn't. You never know. But you can get a large return on your investment right now. So you have a lot of money maybe to move forward and invest in a new house, getting something that fits you better. Or maybe you want to take a trip around the world, but you will get a larger return on your investment than you would have last year. So, maybe you were already preparing to move before your spouse died and you just want to keep moving forward. You already kind of have an idea where you want to go, and so you want to just keep moving forward. Maybe now that your spouse has passed away, you realize how much work your house really is. And you're tired of doing yard work and shoveling your own driveway. And you're just tired of it and want to move on. Maybe there's a lot of home improvements that need to be made at your house, and your spouse used to do those, and now you have to always hire someone to do it. You don't know how to do any of those repairs. Potentially, it's an affordability issue now that you're on a single income. You can't afford the mortgage, or it's just expensive maintaining the house. Maybe your kids have all moved out and you are alone in a big house and you don't need all that space. Maybe the memories are overwhelming for you. I know a few spouses or a few widows that have decided within 6 months that they gotta move. They don't want to stay in the house. They want to move and start moving forward and creating new memories in a different space. And that's okay too. And maybe you want to move. Maybe you love moving. Maybe you hadn't moved because your spouse didn't want to move, but now you want to move. So now is a great time. Maybe some of the reasons for waiting might be you don't want to jump into this buyer's market. It's a roller coaster. Probably make offers on a couple houses. What I always tell my buyers are when we're looking at homes, you want to really be able to picture yourself living in a home, but you never actually want to move in your mind until it's for sure going to be yours and they've accepted your offer. So, it takes time to prepare, and you don't want to rush going through all your stuff, getting ready to get on the market. You want to take your time. So now's not really a good time to sell because you have a lot to go through. And you don't mind doing yard work or the stuff around the house, or you don't mind hiring someone to do it for you if you enjoy where you live. So maybe it's already affordable where you are. Maybe moving wouldn't be as affordable because you have to get another mortgage, and it's actually going to be more expensive than the house you live in now. Maybe your kids are still here at home and you don't want to uproot them. And maybe the memories of being in the house with your spouse are comforting and you want to stay there. And maybe you just want to stay. You loved your house in the beginning, you still love it, and you don't want to go anywhere. So one of the things you really want to know your finances, not only as you're getting ready to sell and knowing what you can fix and not fix, and how much, if it'll be worth it to fix it. Is it worth it to put in a new kitchen? Of course, it's just okay to paint. You kind of want to have an idea where you want to go. Are you in the suburbs and you want to move more urban so that there's lots of restaurants and you can walk to them and hang out with friends and walk home? Or maybe you're in the city and you just want to get out to the suburbs or even in the country. Maybe you want to be closer to your kids or your grandkids, or maybe you want to move to Florida where it's warm. When you're ready to sell, call an experienced realtor. They can actually help you. They know lenders. They can help you figure out the finances of moving. Maybe you need to sell your home to move to a new house. We have experience helping people do that. So it's a smoother transition. It will still be emotional. It'll still be very stressful, but it will be smoother. It'll be smoother. So, and if you have an idea, they can also help you with lots of vendors. They know painters and cleaners and different ways. Some companies, I know our company actually at Coldwell Banker, we have a program where we can help finance repairs that need to be made, and then you pay them back at closing. So you don't have to worry about the finance as much on the front end, and you can pay it with the proceeds from selling your house. So more or less, no matter whenever you're moving for whatever reason, it's all about right sizing. You're either moving to a house that's bigger or smaller or no stairs or a condo where you don't have to do any outside maintenance or a townhome. It's all about getting a home that's right for you in your current situation. And you're gonna know when it's time to move. Death has been a hard companion for all of us, and for some of us, death traveled with us for many years before taking our spouse. And for some of us, death took our spouse in a moment, but we all get to decide what's best for us now. And take the time to process your grief in your own time, and you'll know when you are ready to make a move. So don't let the market tell you it's time to move. You move on your own. And I hope that's answered some of your questions. I do have time for more questions. And if you don't want to ask your question now or here, or it's personal, I'm available anytime by phone, email, text. I'm always happy to answer questions for people. I believe in service and never pressure. So feel free to always call and ask me any questions. And I really thank you for your time today and have a good night.
Thank you. Joe, I'm watching to see if anybody is asking a question using the Q&A button. And so far, there aren't any.
Oh, I'm not sure how to get back out of my screen now.
Well, I can see you.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, but right now I don't see any Q&A questions that have been listed, but I do want to make sure people understand that Joe is available to be reached. You can email Wings for Widows and we'll get you in touch with her if you have a specific question or a unique question that really isn't for general audiences. Oh, I see a couple questions. Hang on. Oh, a couple people said, thank you so much. And then somebody said, what are the pros? Oh, yeah, they mean pros as opposed to cons for selling now as opposed to waiting.
Well, the pro is, right now to sell now is because it's really a seller's market. And so buyers are they're willing to walk in and say, oh, the house really needs carpet, but you know what, we'll take care of that. As long as it's priced right, of course. So that's one of the big pros. The other is, I mean, the home prices are so high over last year, they're up about 14%. So you have a lot of equity in your home to work with, and you can take that to your new home. And because the interest rates are still very low, it gives you a lot of purchasing power, especially when you have a large chunk of money to put down on a new home. But basically it's because you're going to have so many offers to choose from.
One question that I have that I think might be a general enough question is, should you have identified where you're going to go in this market before you put your house on the market? Because everything, you almost have to have all your ducks in a row before you even open the door, it feels like.
You do have to have your ducks in a row, definitely. And that's really why a realtor can help you. I would say a lot of times, one of the things we've been doing is instead of, it used to be contingent, buyers had all the contingencies. Now the seller can say, yes, we'll take an offer, but it's the contingent on my finding a new house. So we'll have a closing date maybe 2.5 months out when I think I'll have time to find a house. But if I don't find it, the offer is still contingent on that. So I'm going to back out. So, and buyers are willing to do that because there's no homes on the market today. So that's one way to do it. The other, you really want to make sure you're prepared to buy right away too. So you don't want to have a contingent on the sale of your house. So you have to be able to buy without any contingencies also.
So that's where having family or someone you can stay with while you find a new house, or if you're waiting for a place to be finished or redone or something, then you kind of have to jump.
Sometimes you are going to have to figure out what you'll do for temporary housing. And I always talk to people about that. Have a backup plan in case, the best offer wants you out in 30 days and you're willing to take it. Where are you going to go? Your pets, where are you going to store your stuff? But, there are storage places. There are long-term rental places. You're not going to be there forever. And, now might be a great time to sell your house. Wait 6 months to a year before you do buy the next house. Take your time searching.
Yeah, good tip. Let's see. Oh, someone else has a question, but she says it's too long to write. So I would encourage you to send an email to Wings for Widows, and they'll forward that on to Joe, and she can call you and talk it over with you.
Oh, I'm happy to talk to anyone. I'm pretty passionate about real estate. The reason I got into it was to help other people. I just really wanted to contribute, and it's just been a wonderful career for me, helping other people with the biggest decision of their lives, really, most of the time, because where you live really determines your lifestyle.
Well, thank you. This has been really very informative, and I think people are going to really have a lot it's a lot to think about. It's a huge change for a lot of us. A lot of us are like, what am I going to do with all my stuff? That is one of the hardest challenges, I think, for a lot of people, but
It is, and there are services out there that do help people get rid of their stuff.
okay, good to know.
That they will help with that. There are services out there that do help with that.
Okay, good to know. Well, thanks, Joe. I want to introduce our next speaker. Yeah. Our next speaker is Destinee Buber, and she will be coming on. Destinee, go ahead and get on the screen with us. There she is. I just want to introduce her to you. Destinee is the youngest widow that I know. She became a widow at 27 years old in 2019. Her beloved husband, Mo, died from complications after surgery and left her as solo parent to their young daughter. Destinee, as her name implies, left her corporate career to follow her passion of working with widows to help them find and follow their dreams. She started her business as a certified life coach just last year. I can't remember if Destinee found me or I found her, but somehow we got together, and we are happy to link arms with her as we support widows and widowers on their journey towards finding themselves again after loss. She'll be sharing a little bit more about her story, so I don't want to steal her thunder too much. And she has a lot to teach us all. At her young age, she has learned a lot. And you will want to grab a piece of paper and take notes as she shares with us tonight. Welcome, Destinee.
Thank you, Liane. Can I get my screen shared? Hi, everyone. First, I would like to start by thanking Liane and the Wings for Widows organization for affording me the opportunity to be here with all of you tonight. I'm here to discuss practical progression, my might for moving forward as a widow. Before I begin, I would like to review a quote that has really stuck out to me through my journey through widowhood. And it reads, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward," by Martin Luther King Jr. And for me, the reason why that stuck out is because I'm not saying that you need to move mountains, but it's important to take steps today, like making a phone call or getting out of bed. And I can almost guarantee by taking those steps and making those choices, the choices that you make today are going to help you move forward tomorrow. So a little bit about myself. As Liane stated, my name is Destinee Boubert, and I was born and raised right outside of Boston, Massachusetts. I shared 8 blissful years with my husband, and we have a beautiful little girl, Eliana, who you can see in these pictures here, is 100% my reason. I became a widow unexpectedly in October of 2019 at the age of 27. I joined some online widower groups on Facebook due to the pandemic. Since my husband's passing, I became a certified life coach in July of 2020 and launched my business, The Thriving Feather Life Coaching, on our 3rd wedding anniversary this past September. I furthered my outreach by working very closely with my business partner, Karen Roner, as a widow and life coach. My favorite part of these groups is that we can get on there and know it's a safe space to laugh and cry and know that the others on the call understand where we're coming from. My favorite part is our game nights where it's Friday night game night and you hurry home because that's what you've been looking forward to all week. Tonight, I'm here to discuss practical tips about how to find meaning and purpose moving forward post-loss. Be patient with yourself. When grief hits, you may want to find ways or thoughts on how to fast forward the healing process. Remember, grief hits at the most unexpected times of the day, week, or month, not just on special dates or anniversaries. Set aside dedicated time to grief. And what I mean by this is get in the car, put on some good music, take a nice warm bath, or just sit in a quiet place and hone in on your emotions and try to avoid speeding the healing process. Grief is a scary thing to endure. It comes unexpectedly and at times can feel debilitating, but it's part of doing the work to heal. When you give yourself time to heal in a healthy way, you will find that peace and potential opportunities in a variety of ways might be waiting for you on the other side of your journey through widowhood. It's okay for things to be different. After the loss of your spouse or significant other, you will quickly notice things are very different. It's okay to feel sad about this and to miss them in your life. Try not to pretend that things are still the same. Allow yourself the time and space to embrace each new experience. Traditions will be different. Day-to-day activities such as cooking dinner, household upkeep, or simply rolling the trash bins to the front of the house on trash night. Those things will all be very different. Things may not be the same, but remember that it's possible to be happy again. The first step in the process is to allow things to be different. Practice self-progression. Focus on what it is that you like and dislike. I was asked some time ago, after my husband's passing, what my favorite show was, and I stumbled because I couldn't simply find the answer. I answered something like football and news. To be honest, those are things that I never truly enjoyed watching, but I enjoyed watching it with his company because those are things that he enjoyed doing. It's okay to try to figure out what color you want to paint the bedroom walls and what you want to be remembered for. Nurture gratitude. Try to find one thing a day that you're grateful for. I understand being in a heavy grief fog, it's difficult to try to find one thing that you're grateful for, but if you slow down, try to do this at least once a day. I'm sure you can figure something out that you're grateful for. Use positive self-talk. Manifest that you are worthy of all good things. Eat at least one meal mindfully. Some days you may not have an appetite at all, and other days your emotions really get the best of you, and you'll find yourself deep in a bowl of ice cream. Those moments are okay, but try to remember to eat at least one meal mindfully. Get enough sleep. If I'm being honest, after 16 months of being a widow, I haven't had the best time with trying to get some sleep. But I have found different ways that have helped me, such as meditating or listening to a common podcast to help me relax and get to sleep. And finally, breathe consciously. Take deep breaths. There are days where I feel very overwhelmed and feel like I'm lost. But when I take deep breaths consciously, I realize that that's what I need to help calm myself down. Keep their legacy alive, but don't forget about your legacy. Talk about your partner whenever opportunity allows you to. Find ways and traditions to help keep those memories alive. When you give a strong, solid foundation to memories, you shape the legacy that your loved one left behind. Each time you talk about your loved one, you release grief and expand your heart for new things to come. While keeping their legacy alive, focus on finding the you post-loss. Do things to draw a blueprint on your legacy and let life lead. You might become someone completely different. If I'm being 100% with you tonight, I absolutely am not the same person that I was even just 2 or 3 days before my husband's passing. Put a stamp on your future. Gaining clarity on what you want your legacy to be can give your life meaning and purpose. Losing yourself and finding yourself again. After their death, you may not have any idea who or what you want to be in this world. Your life plan involved both your partner and yourself, so it is okay to feel lost. Remember what you love to do and go do it. Expand your comfort zone regularly. If I'm being honest, sitting here in front of you all tonight is expanding my comfort zone because public speaking is not my strongest suit. But I felt that getting out here tonight and talking to some of you that have tuned in will give you some hope to find ways in moving forward. Get quiet and listen. Focus on the signs from the universe. There's plenty of times when I've pulled out my phone and gone on Facebook and seen a sponsored ad or page that's really struck me. And I find looking into things, those have been things to help me move forward. Remember, you have the power to be, have, and do anything you desire. For me, I was lost in what I wanted to do. I realized the career I had didn't give me happiness. Between remote learning and grieving, 10 months after my husband passed, I resigned from my corporate job of 5 years. I've spent the last 6 months building up my life coaching business, and I'm proud to say I am the founder of the Thriving Feather Life Coaching. For those who don't know what I do as a life coach, I am a certified life coach and consultant assisting people in developing skills and confidence to find a rewarding or benefit-oriented career post-loss. I have a variety of tools I use to help people develop themselves. The ball in the box. Many people go by the stages of grief determined by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. While these stages are accurate to an extent, they hit each person differently and in different orders during different times. The analogy around the ball in the box is a good visual I've focused on myself. While these stages are accurate to an extent, some days the ball will hit, others will hit joy, others disappointment, and even severe pain of grief. Even years down the line, if you feel like you're in a good headspace and have accepted the death of your partner, the ball may bounce on pain and bring you back to a time where grief was heavy and you felt like you couldn't move forward. It's how you overcome those moments that show the strength you have from within. Journaling is healthy. This is absolutely one of the main things that has helped me find myself. Take any opportunity to document your story about you, your partner, and the life you've built. The good times, the bad times, the overwhelming times, including the moments that led you to widowhood. Write your partner a letter. The letter can include moments of gratitude, moments of feeling angry, moments of anxiety, or even moments of wanting to tell them something good or bad about your day. Document the little moments that may not stick out to you in 10 to 15 years. For me, I started journaling pretty soon out. I've began on focusing on the little moments and details that I may not remember and go back to add to those moments as I remember things or my little one reminds me of things. So I can help myself, our daughter, and our loved ones remember just how amazing my husband was. Document on social media. Oftentimes, people are afraid to document their story to avoid being judged. I can't tell you how many times I've posted something and the response has been heartwarming to see how many lives my husband touched. I've had family or friends reach out saying, "Thanks for posting. It's nice to see his face and reminisce about him." This has also afforded me the opportunity for friends that I've made since losing him, realize who it was that I had the honor to marry. They learn about him through the pictures, videos, and stories that I post about him. And then we can laugh about it together. Find your people who get it. The family and friends you thought you'd never lose somehow disappear, and you're left questioning your self-worth. Unfortunately, society doesn't give many resources on how to deal with death. To those people who choose to walk away, it may have been easier to not look back because they just don't know how to handle you. Although it is difficult to grasp why you might have lost the relationships, this affords you an opportunity to let in relationships with people who deserve to be in your life. Researching groups or communities, either in person or online, for widows and widowers can bring a lot of relief. You're not alone in what you've experienced, and it's oftentimes easier to talk to people who understand. You'll find it's a safe space to talk about struggles, laugh, and cry together. The loss of a partner is devastating, but it does make a huge difference to have support. I've made lifelong friends with people from different ages, backgrounds, and walks of life through virtual support groups. Some of who are tuning in tonight to support me or are here in these pictures here for one of our recent game nights. Without them, I wouldn't have the perseverance to be in front of each of you tonight. Learn to trust the process. If I'm being 100% honest, the death of a partner is in no way easy to move on from, but please trust that it is possible to move forward. Know that loving someone until their last breath takes incredible courage, but learn to smile again. With time and patience, life can be meaningful again. Healing doesn't happen overnight, and you will never get over the loss. But please trust that you will learn to live with it and move forward. And that's all I have. So I'm going to ask Liane to come back on if anybody has any questions.
Thanks, Destinee. I just really loved so many of those things. And my favorite thing is the ball in the box. I've never seen that illustration before, and I just think that's so much more accurate than thinking of grieving as a progression, because it does seem like you can be bouncing all over even within one day. You can have all those experiences, and you start to think you're losing your mind, but that helps define what's really going on.
Absolutely. And some days the ball will get smaller, other days it's going to grow again. So it's just a part of learning.
Well, the comments so far are just telling you what an amazing presentation that was and how helpful. So kudos, pat on the back.
Pat on the back.
Okay, I got a couple more questions. Let me take a look here.
All right, let's see.
Destinee, you're amazing. You inspire me and so many others. You're smart, techie, and amazing. Techie, that's the key. Thank you for all you do. You have touched so many widows and widowers of all ages, and I'm lucky to have found you as a friend. That's from Karen.
Yes.
Yeah. Another person is a young widow with a 5-year-old daughter. What advice do you have for working with small children?
For me, the biggest thing was for my little one, she was absolutely against talking about her feelings and emotions. And I felt that she was struggling when she bottled all those emotions in. I did seek out therapy pretty early on, and her counselor is amazing. She's actually a widow herself, so she understands both sides of how difficult this journey is. And with me, I found that my daughter loves to craft. So I almost trick her in a way where we do a craft together, and she may be tuning in tonight and now knows my little secret, but that's okay too. Where we play with clay or we draw a picture, and that really helps her expand her emotions. I mean, to the point where a couple weeks ago she was in therapy, and she made this little game where you shout a number from 1 to 10 and you spin that around the piece of paper she drew on however many times, whether it's sad, happy, anxious, or mad. And whatever one you land on, you have to say, like, during the week or that day, why something happened that made you feel that way. And we play that game often. We do a lot of different things to help her with her emotions. If she doesn't want to talk about it, I give her space, but at least entertain that she should feel comfortable to talk to me at some point during that day.
That's excellent, especially for young children. They don't know how to say how they feel. You have to show your picture that she brought you, the sign that you showed me before.
Oh, yes, I will absolutely bring it up.
Yeah.
So yesterday, in between trying to make the day flow smoothly with character week, she ran over in between on her break at school and said, "Mommy, I think I saw a sign." So I was like, "All right." She said, "Come in the kitchen with me." So I said, "Okay." And she said, "Look," and she pointed to the floor, and right through the window, the way the sun was shining, there was this on our kitchen floor. And she said, "Oh my God, Mommy, Daddy's sending me love from heaven." And I like stopped, and I just couldn't believe that, like, she finds any little thing to associate, even if it's blue and orange. My husband was a huge Miami Dolphins player, so she always associates blue and orange with her dad. So finding things to help keep their legacy alive really has helped, at least for me, has helped my little one move forward.
Do you recommend professional counseling? for kids?
I would say yes. Just because for me, I didn't even know how to grapple with my emotions at that time. Um, and I was trying to find counseling myself. So I felt that being able to find the right counselor, and it's okay if you have to go through a few before you find the right one. I was lucky enough, the first shot, she was amazing and it's still amazing. But it's okay to like find other counselors that may work better for your child.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm looking to see if there are other questions. I don't want to cut anyone off. Oh, someone said, what a beautiful sign. I love and believe in those things. Yeah. We were talking as we were waiting for the call to start this evening about just little things that happen sometimes that seem like messages, and how much those mean to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Destinee, when you do personal coaching with someone, kind of give us a little overview of what that process is like.
So first I would just kind of probably have a discovery call that's like free of, there's no charge to that. It's we get on a call and I try to figure out what it is exactly they're looking to do, what are some of their goals and things like that, and really let them talk and figure that out. And then I kind of give a synopsis of what it is that I do. So I'm a widow myself firsthand. I understand how difficult it is to move forward. I hired a life coach myself after my husband passed, and I felt like I was in a little bit of a better headspace. Um, and the things that I do is I'm more focused on the career because of my HR background. So we do resume critiquing and building, SWOT analysis. So finding your strengths and weaknesses and kind of aligning the opportunities to really get them aligned so you feel confident. There's a variety of things that I can do in order to, and it's not just focus on in our career. There's different things that I've learned as a widow on moving forward that I feel confident that I could coach somebody and what it is they're looking to move forward, whatever goal it is.
Excellent. Here's a question. Tell us about the fascinating name you chose for your life coaching business. What does it mean to you?
Well, like we were saying before, signs. I swear my husband's around us all the time because at the most weirdest times, we'll find feathers, and I found feathers as soon as like a week after he passed away. We went to go visit one of his sisters in Maryland, and we were getting off a plane, and my little one ran ahead because she found a feather on the floor. So we found them in a variety of different ways. And as a young widow, I want to thrive to move forward. So this is my way of how I came up with that unique name, that the feathers are a sign from my husband and I am thriving to move forward. And I'm here to help other people thrive and move forward through this journey.
Thank you. Now, here's a different kind of a question, and you may or may not feel like answering this. Do you feel like you'll ever date again? And how will you know when and how to do that?
I'm comfortable answering that. That's a conversation that comes up very often in the live groups that I'm one of the admins in. At this time, I don't know that I'm in the right headspace to date. I feel like sometimes, yes, I am, and then other times I'm not. I think that you'll know when the time comes. For me, early out, that was some things that people had said, the dreaded things that widows don't like to hear. It's like, oh, you're young, you're gonna find someone else and be married and maybe have kids and more kids. And that's not what I wanted to hear. But 16 months out, I'm entertaining the idea now. Obviously it needs to be somebody that suits me and my daughter, most importantly, but also embraces that my husband is still a part of our life, very much so.
Excellent answer. Okay, I'm just looking to see if any other questions come up. How do you deal with the pain day after day?
I think with time, I hate to hear, time heals all wounds, but when you get out and you do the work and some of the things that I discussed tonight, those are some things that has truly helped me move forward. And I may seem like a pretty strong willed 27-year-old here tonight, but I have my moments where I break down. And I think that just embracing that those moments are okay to do, it's just finding yourself day after day. Something that you didn't think you could do a week ago, now you'll find yourself doing. And it's a good feeling once you've accomplished something as big to you, but as small to someone else as getting out of bed or doing laundry or cleaning the house and making sure it's organized.
Yeah, I agree. I think that at the beginning, that was about all I could accomplish. And I felt like I needed to give myself credit even for those very small things.
Yeah, and pretty early on, for myself, if I'm being honest, there was plenty of days where I didn't want others to see my emotions, so I just, would hide home, and I do that a lot often still. But I find that I don't cry every day anymore. It's not where I lost my breath because I'm crying so much. I actually laugh and smile now, more often, and I know that that's what my husband would want for myself and my daughter, and I want to be the best version of myself for her. So the only way to do that is to learn to smile.
I have another question. It's a little bit harder to answer, but um, a person who has a 17-year-old who has Asperger's and doesn't want to talk about the dad or go to a counselor. Do you have any advice for that person? That's a tough one.
Um, to be honest, I don't have the personal experience of having a 17-year-old, although she is 6 going on 16. For me, I think the best thing is to try to find age appropriate activities that they're so focused on doing it that they somehow can start attributing that to their loss and talking about it. I have a few friends that are in my group that their children are absolutely against counseling, but I think that just entertaining the idea at random times, I wouldn't recommend when they're having a rough moment, just say, well, this is why you need counseling, because that's going to just set them off. But maybe at the dinner table after a long day, just mentioning it. But really, like I said, just finding age appropriate activities that get you and them connected and start talking about random things. For me, that's what really helped my little one start talking.
Thank you. That's good wisdom, I think. Well, I wanted to, Destinee, why don't you can you put your screen back up again so that people can take a few minutes to write down your contact information?
Absolutely. I'll share that again.
Yeah. In case somebody wants to get in touch with Destinee and talk more about, using her as a personal coach, I want to make that option available. And also, I know she has this Facebook Live group that meets every week, and people would be okay to join that. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So I can actually share the link with you, and then if you want to email it out or however. But the Facebook group that you see here, that's my personal business page. But the group that I was discussing, that you saw some lovely people in those pictures, it's called the Widower Virtual Meetup Group. So if you look that up on Facebook, you'll see it's almost like the Brady Bunch cartoon version of people in little Zoom pictures, and then you can go on there and you actually talk to people live, which is great. We open up rooms, we have weekly Zoom meetings and game night, like I had said. So it's just a safe space, another resource for people to get out there and meet people. That's how I've met some of the friends that I talked about.
Yes. And I do think making connections is a key part of the healing process. Just to especially in this environment with COVID and the isolation that so many of us feel, it's so important to be connected with other people who understand what we're going through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I also put this QR code. So for anybody who is a little bit easier, probably if you have a smartphone and you open up the camera and you scan the little code in the corner, you'll see that it'll pull up my website. So you can directly go on there and just kind of review, I guess, a little bit more about me. And if you have any interest in booking a discovery call, or just talking more about my experience and how I may be able to help you.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to make that available to people. So thank you for putting that back up there again.
Thank you.
Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and close out the call for tonight. We're just a couple minutes before the end time, and I really want to thank Joe and Destinee again for giving us such great information. Thank you for attending the call tonight. Be sure and seek out Destinee's Facebook group and take a look at her website. If you have further questions for her, I'm sure she'd be more than happy to help. And same with Joe. The best way to get a hold of her because she is a volunteer with Wings for Widows, is to contact Wings for Widows, and we'll put you in touch with her. We have so many wonderful links and resources on the Wings for Widows website, and it just was remodeled. And I don't know if you know that, but take a look at our website and just explore there, and you'll find so much good information. It's well worth your time to take a look at it. Now, be sure and register for our next call, which is on March 17th. And our topics that night fit beautifully with what Destinee was talking about. The topic for widows and widowers is on journaling and becoming a journaler. How can you take that discipline into your everyday life? And then the other topic will be on cybersecurity. So we're doing this class on computer or on consumer safety, and we're going to have one of our Wings for Widows financial coaches talk about cybersecurity, keeping your computer and your phone safe. And I'm told that even for non-techies, Grant Meyer is excellent at doing that topic. My good friend and lifelong journaler, Janelle Rep, will be the person talking about journaling. Thank you again for all of you who have attended this evening. We will have this on our YouTube page shortly, in a few days after it's been edited. And we really look forward to seeing you again on the 17th. Please stay well. And I hope, if you live in the northern climates like we do, that springtime is just around the corner. We'll see you next time.